I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you would follow along with the pledge and invocation with Chief Schmidt. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank Thee for the blessings that we enjoy. Father, we are grateful to Thee for the clouds that have moved in and pray that Thou will bless us with some moisture this coming week. Father, we are so grateful to Thee for this community, this incredible area in which we live. We are so thankful for the blessings that we have received and that we continue to receive. At this time, we are also thankful for these aldermen and for the work that they do. And we ask Thee to please bless them with Thy spirit of discernment, and please bless us with the spirit of civility as we go forth throughout the meeting. Bless us that we might be able to provide the reports and the information that Thou would have us make or know to make good decisions that will allow us to continue to be a blessing upon the region and be a demonstration of how to properly run a city for this country. And we say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief. So I've got a paragraph to read here for public comment.
Mayor, can we do roll call?
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, do a roll call, please.
Harkness? Lucas? Cooper? Milton?
Yep.
Denham?
Here.
Scholes?
Here.
Williams?
Present.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Hal. So public comment section is now changed. As some of you will recall, last meeting, the Board of Aldermen approved making changes to who is eligible to speak at our public comment section. And basically, it's Taney County residents, Stone County residents, Taney County businesses. Anything else, Hill?
So it's businesses located within the city limits
Within the city
and
limits.
anybody employed with a business
Yeah.
within the city limits.
So we're going to refer to them as eligible speakers. And you'll hear that term now for this meeting and all meetings going forward. So let me read this. The public comment section is not for items listed on the regular agenda. At this time, the board will hear the eligible speakers who have personally signed up to speak. Please refrain from directing any questions to board members and limit comments to matters within the board's jurisdiction or authority to take action on. Please note the clerk will announce when 30 seconds are left and there will be a sound played when time is up. We ask that comments are wrapped up upon hearing the 30-second notification. If an eligible speaker would like a board member to bring down an item from the consent agenda for additional discussion, please note this request during comments. If comments are about a specific agenda item, the eligible speaker will be asked to hold comments until the item is called later in the meeting. Please come to the freestanding podium to address the board. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment speakers?
Yes, sir. We have 6 speakers signed up this evening for public comment. The first one is Gary Groman speaking on clarification.
Gary, you've got a skip in your step tonight. You have a skip in your step tonight. Hold on, Gary. I'm sorry, hold on. You got to check your mic.
Don't worry about it.
Gary, would you mind starting over, please?
Pardon?
Would you mind starting over?
Sure. For the record, as far as I'm concerned, anything you say or do while you're sitting up in the dais is business that the board has jurisdiction or authority to take action on. and is appropriate for discussion during public comment. You said or did it during an official meeting in a government facility using government equipment and, be it ever so little, being paid by the city for your participation in the meeting. Section 2-39 of the Branson Municipal Code says, quote, "Neither the Board of Aldermen nor any of its members nor the mayor shall give orders to any city employee except the city administrator." Further, Missouri ethics and legal interpretations consistently clarify that individual aldermen act only as part of the corporate body and cannot individually supervise, direct, or issue orders to subordinate city staff. This sets up a logical flow of information and process where fourth-class cities like Branson operate via and through an appointed city administrator, where staff direction flows top-down from executive management, not individual elected aldermen. That is consistent with the Missouri state law that says the city administrator shall be the chief administrative assistant to the mayor and shall have the general superintending control of the administration and management of the government business, officers, and employees of the city subject to the direction and supervision of the mayor, not the board. I bring that up because as I attend meetings and listen to these proceedings, I watch them online, I ask, why is this board, collectively or otherwise, interfering with the ability of the city's amazing staff of professional experts that we pay big dollars to for running the city on a day-to-day basis by continually second-guessing and, in my opinion, trying to micromanage how the city is being run? That's a rhetorical question. The actions of Alderman Schultz in the $30 million Cushman appeal are a good example of what happens when less than the board takes action on a matter. During his alderman's report at the last meeting, he said, quote, "I am also smart enough to say how we can avoid another $30 million lawsuit that we lose." Oh, really? It's quite hard to believe that if Alderman Schultz had been in the same position as the alderman that approved that annexation agreement over 30 years ago, that he would have voted any differently. The contract was solid, and some of the best appellate lawyers in the state are defending it, because what you can't account for in drafting a contract is the actions of people that bring lawsuits 30 years later and what individual judges and juries are going to do. Alderman Schultz making that statement indicates to me that he's so sure he's so smart that he doesn't know how unsmart he is. Schultz further said, "I'll go on record saying that I had breakfast with the Cushmans. I had donuts with the Cushmans and coffee." And continues saying the city should sit down with Cushman to hear their settlement offer. While acknowledging there's legal professional opinions in the matter, he goes on to call the city's inaction in this regard foolish and a travesty. I guess I don't understand. While Branson is involved in the appeal process in a $30 million lawsuit, Schultz, for whatever reason, on his own, performs actions that fuel the perception of potential conflict of interest and the appearance of impropriety. While being privy to internal legal opinions, procedural opinions, he openly admits on the record having private, informal meetings with the opposing party while the appeal process is going on, rather than deferring to and helping the city's active legal defense by just keeping his mouth shut. In addition, he uses his aldermanic position to publicly criticize the city, calling its refusal to entertain Cushman's settlement offer foolish and a travesty, while openly acknowledging that his major campaign donors are builders and real estate, the exact demographic he is meeting with and advocating for. In my opinion, Schultz's behavior in this case, while simultaneously calling for and pressuring the city to settle rather than appeal, at the very least creates a textbook appearance of impropriety. Accordingly, I request that Mr. Schultz or anyone else having private meetings with the opposing party in the Cushman case be excluded from all executive session, meetings, discussions, and negotiations regarding the appeal in this case. It's also interesting to note that Alderman Schultz said, "Every day I take every call. I'll meet everybody where they want me to meet them. I've never said no." That's simply not a true statement. I contacted Alderman Schultz earlier this year to ask for a meeting with him, and he did not call me back. In this room, at the end of the day, at that very dais, I asked Mr. Schultz if he got my call. He said yes. He said that he didn't want to talk to me because he had told me to contact him before I write anything about him, and I didn't do that. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if you've got any questions, I'd appreciate it if you'd ask them while I'm up here, rather than making snide remarks when I go back and sit down or during reports.
Dr. Groman, for the record. for the record, when I want to speak to department heads, I usually contact Kathy and let her know, hey, is it okay if I contact the department head? So you read the rules, and I just wanted you to know that I'm following them.
In fact, not only is it a rule, I think it's a courtesy, because if you put yourself in the place of any of our directors, they take their instructions from Kathy, and Kathy gives them a workload and deadlines to meet. So anytime they're interrupted by an alderman, of course they're going to listen to an alderman and do what the alderman asks them to do. But I think it puts them in an unfair position where they may be unable to complete the task that Kathy asked them to do. So I've always believed and have been instructed that anytime an alderman wants to speak to a director, they bring that request to the city administrator first.
That's what the state statutes seem to envision, and that's the process. How can it work anywhere else, any way else?
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Linda Sills, speaking on flock cameras.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Linda Sills. I do live in Branson, and since the July of 21, escaped from California. So anyway, I was informed by my friend sitting next to me up there that the flock cameras in Branson don't have the technology that one should be more afraid of. However, what's coming does, and I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but there's the ESGLA with the facial recognition. Not only that, but they have the ability then to tap into Bluetooth, all the devices in the car, the data off the phones, off the devices, so they know who's in the car. Everything gets tracked, stored. That's what some of the data centers are about. Well, there's another one that they want to do. So I'm basically making you aware of it so you can put the brakes on it if possible. There's a company called Axon, and they've got a camera called Ubiquia, which is a play on ubiquitous. They're everywhere. They want to put them on the existing street lamps. There's 60 million street lamps in America. And so, wherever you're at, you're going to be tracked, traced, and all these things. So to me, I would say it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It's pretty clear. To be secure in your houses, persons, places, effect. And I believe that a car is your personal property, so that would be like a house where you should be, even though you're in public. License reading, I don't like it, but it is what it is. Like I said, the ability to do all the facial recognition, and right now there have been cases already where AI is not perfect, and they make mistakes, and they convict, quote, innocent people, and these people have to prove their innocence with their own cameras, and it's pretty egregious. So I do remember that Benjamin Franklin said, those who would, surrender a modicum of their liberty to purchase a little bit of temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Just be aware and say no to this massive Orwellian nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Paul Foreman, speaking on flock cameras.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Foreman. Mr. Mayor, Aldermen, thank you for giving me the time to speak and for listening to what I'd like to say. I understand that the city of Branson entered into a contract with the company Flock, installing many of their security cameras in and around our city. I have a concern as these cameras are rented to cities using tax dollars through a membership program under the guise of providing a safe and more secure environment for all citizens who live here. While this may appear to be a good practice for cities that want that type of environment, in my opinion, it is not. These cameras are a significant overstep into the privacy of law-abiding citizens and the millions of visitors that travel to our city. I understand that our elected leaders want to reduce crime and keep our community safe, and I respect that goal. But I believe there is a line between protecting the public and creating a system that records the daily movements of innocent people who have done nothing wrong. Flock cameras capture much more than just license plates. Flock cameras are ran by an AI software that tracks you when you leave your house, where you stop and travel to, and when you get home. They not only track vehicles by license plate, but build profiles on them, knowing you, your spouse's, and your children's routes in which they drive and walk, along with other visual characteristics. With fast advancements in modern technology, these cameras can easily be manipulated from monitoring crime to surveying citizens' every move. With the use of facial, ocular, and gait recognition, paired with public records and data, these cameras not only become a public safety risk, but a national safety risk as well. Because of the seemingly low cybersecurity installed on flock cameras, they have been proven to be easily hackable, with videos online showing tutorials on how to access any camera in the flock network in a matter of 30 seconds or less by anyone in the world at any time with basic coding knowledge. This provides a serious invasion of privacy to our local citizens and to families who travel to Branson as well, allowing anyone with access to track or stalk anyone who passes by these cameras without their knowing. All of this said, I also have concerns that the cameras themselves do not meet the goal of keeping the public safe to the standards of our city or our law enforcement. Reports across the country show that the AI system used by Flock has over a 30% failure rate in recognition, causing thousands of innocent people to be wrongfully accused of crimes they did not commit, ultimately resulting in some of these people being falsely arrested, jailed, and costing both the citizens and their cities tens of thousands of dollars in the process. For example, although much different than here, Los Angeles, California has recently canceled their membership with Flock due to over 160 false reports in only the past 2 months. Over 80 other cities across America have done the same, including Houston, Texas, and Seattle, Washington, due to mass amounts of false reports and the growing concern for public privacy and safety. I strongly encourage the city of Branson to take a careful look at whether this technology reflects the kind of community we want to be. We can support law enforcement, value public safety, and still protect privacy and freedoms of the law-abiding citizens who live here and the millions of families who visit our city every year as well. I would like to ask all of your permission to hand each of you a copy of 1984. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this classic novel. Regardless of where each of us stands in this issue, it serves as a timeless reminder that no surveillance state is a free state, and that freedom and privacy deserve our constant vigilance. I simply ask that you keep those principles in mind as you make your decisions. Thank you for your time, and God bless.
Thank you, Paul. If you would hand those to our city clerk.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, our next speaker.
Yes, our next speaker is Gabriella Chrisman, speaking on, I would like to address the council.
Good evening, Mr. Milton and the council. I would like to address a little concern that I have because I don't quite understand it, and I know that you guys can give me the full understanding. I live in Branson. I live on Rose O'Neill Drive. I have tried to get a hold of my alderman, Mr. Cooper, like I call, I text, and things like that. There is questions that I need. He will not call me. He will not answer me. He will not talk to me. I heard that he has problems with my fence. He does not like a rustic fence. Well, I'm sorry. I like rustic. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, you've been by my house. I've seen you. Sorry, I live by you, so I know. Excuse my language. But anyhow, I just like to know how I can get my council representative to have some attention of my concern, okay? Then another thing that I have is when I was here last week, the council was talking, and either I misunderstood this or what, but I did think that you were talking about building and rebuild, getting bids and getting people to build things here. I bought property here 30 years ago. The construction was horrible. There was no restriction. And if people do not want to build in Branson because the council feels like they need to have restriction, keep going. Take care of us. Do not worry about it. We are proud of Branson. We want Branson to grow, but we want Branson to grow because people that live here, that work here, love it. Not because they want to make a dollar. It's, everybody wants to survive, but I want to be proud of the homes that are being built. And my like might not be your like, but your like might not be mine. So this is why Branson is a good place to live, as long as we can love each other and get along and respect our neighbors and be forthcoming with our neighbor. If we have problems, let's talk about it. Let's not go behind people's back. I feel like I am proud to be a taxpayer. I am proud to be a Branson member, but I do feel like my councilman doesn't respect my opinions.
I have
That's
to,
all I've got to say. Thank you for listening to me.
yeah,
And I hope that we can get something to make people feel welcome here, not feel like an outsider.
if we could get your information, I'm confident Mr. Cooper will contact you.
I appreciate that.
Hillary, do we have her
Mr.
contact
Milton.
information?
We do not.
I do, I have,
Clay,
I
did you
called
want to
them.
address this?
and things.
Well, I'm not aware of your fence or where your fence is or what it looks
You
like.
live right by me.
I live on the corner, ma'am, so
Right.
I never go down that street. I pull off of 76 and I park in my driveway,
Okay.
so I don't even know where your house is. But,
Okay. But anyhow,
well, is there an issue at your house, or?
there is an issue, and I'd like to speak to you privately if we can.
Yeah,
If you have time. I felt like I'm just, and I hated to come here and ask for your attention, but I didn't know how I could get it. I can't give you a trip to Tennessee. I just can give you a trip down my house.
She's in a second. Alex, did you have something?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Ma'am, if it helps,
Certainly.
you have two representatives in your ward. And where, a lot of us, it's not making excuses who called who didn't answer, but there are two of us that represent every ward. And so if it's ever helpful to any resident, please reach out. I mean, I have the
will.
pleasure of serving with Alderman Cooper, but you have multiple points of contact. So if you
Well-
ever need it, and I don't know if it's a personal thing, but if
No,
it's
no.
your ward,
I just felt that he
yeah.
just lived around the corner, and he was closer, and I seen his vehicle come by the house, and I didn't know. So I am sorry, but I work outside all the time, and I'm there.
Certainly, no worries. I just wanted to make sure for you and anybody else just knows that there's two aldermen that represent every ward. So if there's ever anything that we work with each other as a team. And so if
I
that's ever
appreciate
helpful to
that.
get you feedback, that's what I wanted to offer to you.
I appreciate that. That's what I need, and I just got a hold of the first one that was on it, and he told me, he said, call or text. I did both.
If you would you leave your phone number with our city clerk?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Appreciate that,
Hillary,
Mr. Milton.
would you get that? Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to me.
You bet.
Thank you.
So our next speaker is Don Blue, speaking on campaign.
Well, first of all, I just want to say hi. And
Hi.
I am Dawn Ballou, and I'm running for an office in the county. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I just wanted to say I have worked for Taney County and for you all for 30 years, 18 in the auditor's office. I've been over the accounting for quite a while. And a lot of times I can't meet you all, and I just want to say hi. And just if you have any questions afterwards, I'd love to talk to you about what I'm running for. And just wanted to, I know it's kind of, you got a lot going on, so just want to thank you for your time.
Don, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Our final speaker is Cherry Webster, speaking on Alderman communications with litigants.
Good evening. My name is Cherry Webster. I live in Branson's Ward 3. I'm continuing with the topic I began April 14th, about 50 minutes before the developer's voter block, if not the Cushman block, was formally established after swearing in 2 new aldermen. I made comments additionally on June 9 and July 14. Tonight I reference Alderman Schultz's comments during his July 4th reports concerning Alderman Harkness meeting individually with litigant David Cushman during the appeal process without benefit of attorney. I'm taking a different perspective than Mr. Groman and with different board action requests. About the 4-hour and 21-minute mark, Schultz volunteered, "I'll go on record saying I've had breakfast with the Cushmans, I've had donuts with the Cushmans, and coffee. I'm smart enough to sit down with builders in this community and find out how we can make Branson better. And I'm also smart enough to say how we can avoid another $30 million lawsuit that we lose." Smart enough? I don't agree with Alderman Schultz's opinion of himself. A lawsuit that we lose? Well, because of the judgment last October? Well, hopefully 6 days after his comments, he read the city's appeal brief. Those are 7 tall hurdles Cushman has to clear for a win. The city only has to clear 1. Schultz volunteered further. "I believe the city should sit down with the Cushmans as they requested to hear what their settlement offer is to the city. I think it's foolish on the part of the city not to sit and listen." Well, of course, no one would think it's not a good idea to talk to developers and builders to help make Branson better. But when the developer is a litigant, and especially now as an appeal respondent, it could be dangerous to speak with the Cushmans outside the presence of the appellate attorney and against his legal advice. Just taking a meeting can be revealing. What if Cushman asked for a meeting right after the judgment was awarded? Might that mean Cushman doesn't think he has a strong case for an appeal? What if the city accepted a meeting at the time of the appeal briefs? Would the litigant be thinking like Schultz? "Oh, the city's meeting me because it would be foolish not to hear my offer"? Or might he think, "There's the Cushman block at work towards a settlement"? It's also easy to convey your position, even from what is not said, or in body language, hand gestures, facial expressions. How did Martha Stewart fare when she took a meeting? Did she go to prison for insider trading? No. She went to prison for lying to investigators. Maybe thought she was smart enough to sit down with them. Now consider the timing of Schultz's meetings. He took office April of 2024. Cushman filed his lawsuit August of 2022. During Schultz's entire tenure, the Cushman has been a litigant. Wouldn't you want to know how many times he's met with the Cushmans and who else was present and what he conveyed to them? Is he smart enough to meet but not reveal? I make 3 requests for actions the board can take. Number 1, Alderman Schultz. Refrain from communicating with the Cushmans outside the presence and advice of the appellate attorney. If he thinks it's foolish to hear Cushman's settlement offer, trust his advice and let the appeal process play out. The city may end up paying 0. Alderman Harkness, ditto. This may be more difficult for you since you were so compromised with Cushman being your campaign manager and your handler still. A settlement on this case would give Cushman money and let him keep the land. Isn't that your next campaign promise to fulfill? Mr. Mayor, I do not see how she cannot recuse herself from all things Cushman. Maybe I've been watching too many detective shows, but when all the dots are connected, this alderman seat looks as if it could be Cushman's confidential informant and the city's mole. So Alderman Harkness, it is imperative that you stop communicating and dining with Cushman without the appellate attorney present. Mr. Mayor, number 2, I would ask that Alderman Schultz and Harkness, or make it all 6 aldermen, submit to you the dates on which they have communications with any of the Cushmans, be it donuts or dinner, phone calls, emails, or texts, for the time period from August 2022 to the present while they've held the position of alderman. I would think you would want to compare those
30
meeting
seconds.
dates with executive session dates where legal strategy was discussed. And number 3, Mr. Mayor, it may also be revealing for you to request. No, I'll stop there. I'll address that with you directly. Mr. Mayor, thank you for allowing public comments.
Thank you, Terry. That was last speaker.
Yes, sir.
So next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the board or staff would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask additional questions or comments?
Mayor, I'd like item number 6 to be removed from the consent agenda and placed at the first item on the regular agenda, please.
So, Madam Clerk, would you please read the items of the consent agenda as amended?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the June 23rd, 2026 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Planning Commission minutes for the June 2nd, 2026 regular meeting and the June 8th, 2026 special meeting. Acknowledgement of disbursements for June 4th, 2026 through July 7th, 2026. Final reading of Bill Number 6699, an ordinance for pedestrian vehicular streetscape beautification improvements and utility easement, PVSUE, for West 76 Country Boulevard. And final reading of Bill Number 6697, an ordinance adopting a Section 3 plan for the city of Branson. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
So do I have a motion approving the consent, all items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, would you please provide a roll call vote for the consent agenda?
Harkness,
Yes.
Lucas, Cooper,
Yes.
Denham,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0. Motion carries. Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill Number 6699, an ordinance approving the agreements with Branson Meadows TIF Co. LLC and Branson Hotel 3 LLC for the Branson Meadows development and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents related thereto.
You have heard the final reading of Bill 6699. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll get a staff report from Thomas.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board. The first reading of this bill took place on July 14th, and just to sort of quickly refresh everyone's memory, the ordinance here would authorize an agreement for construction of a private sanitary sewer line out at the Branson Meadows development. The parties to the agreement are the city, a developer, specifically the Branson Meadows Development LLC, and also another LLC called Brian Branson Hotel. As part of a real estate transaction, the Branson Meadows developer is seeking a minor subdivision split, and the developer is then going to sell one of the lots to the hotel company. Currently, there's no sewer line servicing the lot at issue, which would normally be a barrier to the subdivision split and the related real estate transaction. The city and the developer came up with a proposed solution that would call for the parties to enter into this agreement for the construction of the private sanitary sewer line and the creation of an escrow account in which the developer would deposit sufficient funds to pay for that to happen in the event that it was not done by the initial deadline. All of this we discussed more or less in detail at the last meeting. Since that time, the developer reached out to the city staff and requested an update to the language of the construction agreement. Specifically, they've requested some language to be added to paragraph 7 of the agreement. That's the paragraph dealing with the release of escrow funds. I think you can see it there in the red line. So it basically addresses what would happen in the event of a dispute between or among the parties as to whether the agreement has been breached. And it directs the escrow agent to hold on to the funds until the dispute is resolved either through a judgment from a court or through binding arbitration. Thank you.
Any members of the board have any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor? Yeah, just a procedural question here. So I notice we're being asked to eventually substitute Exhibit 1 And yet I just see some red lines up here. Which are we doing?
There is a document entitled Staff Report Exhibit 2. I believe it's linked in the agenda. And within the document, it's referred to as Exhibit 1 dated July 20th, 2026. That has the language itself embedded minus the red lines. So that exhibit would be swapped out for the exhibit that you reviewed at the July 14th meeting, and the end result of all that would be the addition of the redlined language.
Any other Alderman have any questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion approving? Oh, we did that. So we have a,
Mr. Mayor?
yes.
I move to amend Bill 6699 by replacing current Exhibit 1 agreement with the new Exhibit 1 agreement dated July 20, 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter? Are there any eligible speakers who signed up to speak regarding this matter?
No, sir.
Oh. So let's vote on this amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, would you please provide a roll call vote on the bill as amended?
Harkness,
Yes.
Lucas, Cooper,
Yes.
Denham,
Yes.
Scholes,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
So at this time, we will recess the Board of Aldermen meeting to convene the Branson Landing Transportation Development District meeting. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for the property owners of Branson Landing Transportation Development District?
Harkness,
Yes.
Lucas, Cooper,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
Denham,
Here.
Scholes,
Yes.
Williams.
President.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
So I will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the property owners meeting of July 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion discussion. Any discussion with the alderman? Hearing none, please vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
And
Ayes.
and I just want to point out the mayor does vote in these as well. So
Aye.
there you go. Thank you.
So I will now entertain a motion to vote 61 shares to elect Mayor Larry Milton, 63 shares to elect Alderman Ruth Denham, 61 shares to elect Alderman Artie Lucas to the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing TDD, each for a 3-year term, which will expire April 2029.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and discussion. Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
So let the record reflect that the city, as the sole property owner within the Branson Landing TDD, has elected Mayor Milton, Alderwoman Denham, and Alderman Lucas to the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing TDD, each with 3-year terms that will expire April 2029.
So that concludes the item scheduled for the Branson Landing TDD Property Owners Meeting. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the Property Owners Meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. The meeting of the Branson Landing TDD Property Owners is adjourned. So at this time, Vice Chairman Glenn Schultz will chair the Branson Landing TDD Board of Directors meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The joint meeting of the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing Transportation Development District is now called to order. Madam Recording Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Here.
Milton?
Yes.
Denham?
Here.
Scholes?
Here.
Williams?
Present.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the TDD Board of Directors meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries.
Agenda item number 2. Madam Secretary, would you please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is Resolution 2026-01, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing Transportation Development District electing interim directors to fill vacated terms.
Do I have a motion electing Alex Williams and Ashley Harkness as interim directors and adopting Resolution 2026-01?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the Board of Directors? Hearing none, please vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
The result of the vote is 5-0. Motion carries.
And I would point out that at this time, Alderman Williams and Alderman Harkness are now welcome to participate in the meeting votes. Madam Secretary, would you please provide an introduction to the third item on the agenda?
Your Honor, this is Resolution 2026-02, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing Transportation Development District appointing officers of the district. The Board of Directors will now nominate officers.
Nominations are now open for officers of the TED district, and I'll just point out as a matter of efficiency, there is no need to second nominations.
Mr. Chair, I move to nominate Alderman Glenn Scholes as chairperson and executive director.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? We have 4 positions here that need nominations.
Sure. Mr. Mayor, I move to nominate Alex Williams as vice chairperson.
Thank you. Any other nominations?
Mr. Chair, I move to nominate Alderman Cooper as secretary.
Thank you. Any other nominations?
Nominate Ruth Denham for secretary of the district.
Thank you. And I'll call one more time for any further nominations. You are allowed to nominate more than one candidate per position. Hearing none and with no objections, I'll announce the nominations as closed. So the board will be voting on Glenn Schultz as chairperson and executive director, Alex Williams as vice chairperson, Clay Cooper as secretary, and Ruth Denham as treasurer. Madam Secretary, will you now provide a roll call vote?
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Milton?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Scholes?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 7-0. Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, do I have a motion adopting the resolution to include the previously nominated and elected officers?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Then if you would please, all in favor of the resolution, vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The result of the vote is 7-0. Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we're on agenda item number 4, resolution 2026-03. Madam Secretary, would you please provide the introduction for this item?
Your Honor, this is Resolution 2026-03, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing Transportation Development District approving the budget for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2027.
Do I have a motion adopting Resolution 2026-03?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion from the directors? Seeing none, then let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
The result of the vote is 7-0, motion carries.
Having no other business to come before the Board of Directors, this concludes the Board of Directors for the Branson Landing Transportation Development District. I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The result of the vote is 7-0, motion carries.
The meeting of the Board of Directors of the Branson Landing Transportation Development District is now adjourned. At this time, Mayor Milton will reconvene the Board of Aldermen meeting and resume the presiding role.
So I will now call the Board of Aldermen meeting back to order. Madam Clerk, will you please provide an introduction to the next item?
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution of support for Branson Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce CVB's 2026 and 2027 legislative priorities for development reform.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to second. We get a staff report from Kathy Stepp.
Thank you, Your Honor. Should be pretty fresh in everyone's minds, as at our last Board of Aldermen meeting. We had our guests and partners in the community, the Branson Chamber CVB, who came forward and presented their legislative priorities, focusing primarily on development reform. And what you have before you is a condensed version of that. I formatted this myself for tonight's review for you to adopt. I tried to keep it and kind of condense it down to realistic words, meaning there were some things I wanted to make sure we weren't over-promising and end up having to under-deliver. For example, if there's something that maybe the development community is looking for, and say state law, maybe on stormwater or whatever the issue might be, that we can't overcome that ourselves. So I tried to kind of put some different words and phrasing in here to make sure that everybody understands that we understand the intent and what the wishes and desires are of the chamber in this presentation that they gave to us. And then we formatted it in this language that you see in front of you tonight to be able to meet those expectations. One of the items not on here that was on the chamber's list had to do with doing an exercise of creating a mission statement for just the planning department and doing a mission, vision, values exercise with the planning department. I didn't see that as like a legislative thing. It's really more of an internal management thing. And the reason I don't have it on here is I really don't want to commit to that for the upcoming year. I don't have the staff or the time or bandwidth for the staff to be able to go through a good, thorough exercise like that. Additionally, ideologically, I don't ever think it's good for one department to have their own mission, vision, values, drivers that might be different or just different, I guess, from the city's, overall strategic planning and their guidance and values. So I want to assure all of you that all of our directors understand where you want us to come from, which is a servant heart mentality and making sure that we provide the best possible customer service to those we serve. And we work to do that every day, and that we do that with that intention. Actually, in everything we do, it's with that, is to provide that best, highest level of service. So with that, you have the initiatives in front of you, and then we will work as a team. I put in, I think, second quarter of 2027 to be able to bring forward some meaningful legislation for you all to debate and to ultimately vote, and then we will implement. Thank you.
So are there any members of the board wishing to speak regarding this matter?
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Administrator Stepp, for looking into that. I do just have one question. I know the original list was 11 items. You talked about one of them. I understand the idea of the difference between a legislative priority and an administrative procedure. The other item that I believe was removed was titled Utilize Discretion Already Built into Code. And it was stated as increased utilization of the discretion built into the code to allow common sense exceptions to the rules that don't materially improve the outcome. I think that's a big one within the development community. So as long as there's a mutual understanding, and I'm not saying it's not there because the department's already doing that, the planning and zoning department's doing that, but I think there's just value in reassuring the people that put this forward that they put that on the list for a reason and that it was received and that there's, you know, that is the mentality moving forward, whether it's codified or not. I would think that, and that's where I'm curious, is there a reservation of codifying that item, being that we adopt like international building code and statements like authorities having jurisdiction, that gives us the authority to make it legislatively sound, or is it just too vague? I'm just curious. That one specifically, I understood the first one on mission, vision, values, but I just, on the idea of telling the community that we're interested in exercising discretion where appropriate is something worth kicking around.
Very good, and forgive me for forgetting to address that last item. Yeah, that's really a management direction, is to direct my team to use common sense. I mean, we work within the four corners of the page of the ordinances and the laws in front of us, and that's our responsibility to implement and enforce. But whenever there's room to sprinkle common sense in, that is management direction that I give every day. So it has been heard and received. I just didn't see a codifying of, hey, and don't forget to use common sense again. You know what I mean? It just seemed overkill to me. But you're right, and thank you for allowing me again to address it. Message has been loudly received, or firmly received, and it has been effectively communicated to all of our departments, including planning and building. And you guys have been so generous with your compliments as of late of the turnaround that you've seen in that department in particular, and we appreciate that as well.
And that's where I say, like, it is happening, so is codifying that a concern, or is it more of an overstatement, just to help understand?
I just thought of it as overkill. That was my own opinion, but if you feel like you need to put it in code, you know, that's your prerogative. I just wanted you to know I received and heard the message, and we're acting on that.
And then this last question, sorry, this isn't going to be codified, this is a resolution, and we still have our local level priorities outside of this.
That's correct, thank you.
Glenn?
Yeah, thank you. Couple of things. First of all, I think we made it very clear at the last meeting that we support this in a growing, hopefully, list of feedback from the chamber. At the last meeting, we did say that to make the chamber singularly collect these kind of requirements, that it couldn't be a pay-for-play scenario. We've seen text messages since then of people who feel that's exactly what it is, that they don't get access to the chamber meetings if they're not a member. So we're going to have to address that as part of the overall issue here. The other thing is and similar to Alderman Williams' comments, when I look at this list, the bulk of it seems to be administrative issues and not legislative issues, at least for the first go-around. Ultimately, you may hit some limitations within ordinances, but, you know, I guess I'd ask, Mr. Mayor, is your administration behind these things, since so many of them are procedural and staff-related things instead of legislative activities?
Yeah, I can see your point. Many of those can be handled in-house. And so this is the first go-around of these legislative priorities from the chamber. So I believe we'll have an internal conversation with that and sit with the chamber to modify some of these. Go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you, Alderman Schultz and Mayor. Yes, many of these things could be done administratively, but I would actually have more comfort if after our team is able to, you know, run these things to ground and with input from the builders and developers and the chamber, and come one, come all, by the way. You don't have to be a chamber member to be able to weigh in on your thoughts and opinions on what we can be doing better in the city. but many of these things I will want to codify. So things like allowing expedited approvals on, repeat plans, I think an ordinance would be appropriate for that. And the reason I say that is it always makes staff very uncomfortable, as it should make the customer feel not so comfortable, that there's too much maybe discretion of staff, because that's where you start to get people who are intimidated by government, and most people are. When they come in, they're afraid and nervous to deal with the government. And if I can codify most, if not all of these, I think the public's better served at the end of the day, because they'll know up front what the rules are, and they're not subject to somebody that maybe doesn't like what color shirt they're wearing when they walk into City Hall, right? So we can take away as much of the gray area of, this employee doesn't like me, so that's why they wouldn't do X. So I'm going to work very hard to try and codify as many of these as possible for that clarity and predictability.
And I personally, I'd encourage that, where it's appropriate. I still think some of those could be done strictly on an administrative standpoint, but if you feel you need it codified, recognizing it's going to also tie your hands in some cases, you're going to lose that internal process control and codify it, that's got some risks. Just in general, I got to admit, I'm uncomfortable. As much as I want the list, as much as we invited the list, and as much as I support the list, I'm uncomfortable with a process where when groups come in with a list, that we're going to go through a resolution procedure to address that list. Because the day is going to come too where groups are going to come and say, well, where's my resolution? I brought a list, where's mine? I add to that we're halfway into developing our own legislative priorities, and we haven't even made it through that. At some point, I think these things should all be brought together and decided what are the priorities from a legislative perspective overall, not just unique to the things that the chamber happen to bring. I think we're going to see some from other organizations too. I think Baja is getting organized to bring a specific legislative priority list. I think Taney County Partnership might. There's a potential from that, and some other groups. And I'd hate to establish a procedure where we have to go through a resolution just to say we agree.
Glenn, excuse me. I welcome lists from all organizations, and as I mentioned, this list right here that's been presented, we're going to go through this internally and sit with the chamber to make decisions on this list. Because like Kathy said, a lot of these are going to be internal decisions that we can do, but codifying these things only seems to make sense.
I agree with codifying the ultimate decisions, if that's the way the administration would like to run it. I get that. This resolution isn't codifying. It's instead a specific action on a list of items that eventually is going to change and be refined and additional ones added to. And to go after resolution for all the different groups and all the iterations of lists just seems to me to be counterproductive to the efficiency of the Board of Aldermen. So I'm not in favor of this process as much as I'm in favor of the list.
Okay. Clay?
But is it not different though, this group versus the other groups, that we contract them to market our city and do, you don't see that's any different than just some organization bringing a list? That's what we fund them for, is to give us ideas and.
You asking me that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say we don't contract them. We contract the CVB. This is a chamber activity of members, specifically builders and developers of their members. So I think it's really not the same. I think we would pay equal attention to a list brought by Baja, formerly BALA, Branson Area Lodging Association, now Branson Area Hospitality Association. I think, we'd pay equal attention to their issues. I think if the Board of Realtors brought a list to us, we'd probably pay attention to their issues. And really, I hope this is the start of those kind of things. What the chamber kind of kicked off here, I hope other representative groups in the city who have special interests will come to us with a list of things that we can consider to make their businesses work easier with the city.
So Glenn, we want to encourage them to bring us their list, and I agree, the more the better. So I'm not sure, I'm not clear with what your objection is to this.
I don't like the format of the resolution and the process of that.
So what you're saying, you don't have a problem with what's on the list. It's just if we're going to do a list for one, then why not all? I mean, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Kathy?
Thank you. So the reason we're doing it this way was because there was certainly a lot of conversation, not just with this last election, but for actually since I walked in the door and before, I'm sure, on changes and revisions needed for planning and development and the building department. And so this is really the reason that this is a resolution is to give staff direction to pursue these particular initiatives, right? Because otherwise, I'm getting pulled like the Stretch Armstrong doll, right, by different competing interests, even sometimes in the community. And yes, we want you to do that, and no, we don't want you to do that. And so for the ability for the public to be able to come and talk to their elected officials and say, these are the things that we need in our purview, in our different special interest area, whatever it might be, you guys get the chance to vet those publicly, winnow those down, and then direct us to move forward and make those changes or not. So it really helps me structure the workload for the staff to know what are your priorities versus what is one person in the community who's come and met with me and taking their priorities and running with it. So it just kind of helps me know what's the heartbeat of the policymakers here. That's really why we're doing it. And I'm not nervous about getting these types of lists from other special interest groups. I mean, I don't mean that with a negative connotation. That's just what it is. I think it's wonderful if organizations in this community are willing to sit down and do the work like what the Chamber did, where they got builders and developers and realtors together and said, where are the snags in process? Where can we do better as a city to encourage more growth economically and real estate-wise? That's great because they'll do the vetting, they'll listen to the challenges, they'll see where the common denominators are, and then they've been willing to put forward suggestions on how to solve it instead of just bringing a list of problems. So I really appreciated what the Chamber went through. I would love it if the other groups would do the same thing. I think it'd make us a much better city at the end of the day.
Glenn?
Yeah, so again, I love the list, and I hope we get more from the Chamber. No debate there. And I think we should pay attention to the list and run it to ground. But I think you made the point, Administrator, that you need to know what the priorities are. That's kind of my issue here is we've got a whole list of legislative priorities that we haven't even looked at yet that the aldermen put together. We've got legislative priorities from other organizations. I don't think now is the time to say, oh, this particular list rises to the top of priorities. And if this is what that resolution is intended to do, then I'm even more opposed because I think we've got to sort out those priorities. I'm seriously hoping some of this still remains administrative so that it doesn't all tie up on this dais for action. I hope truly that some of it can be handled administratively, but those things that have to come to the aldermen, I think should be viewed in the context of all the other priorities that we're about to review and decide where do they fall out and not single out a specific group of topics and say these are the priorities. I think we've got to look at the complete landscape before we make those kind of decisions.
Yeah.
So, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
To that point, just so that we're not belaboring the conversation, I'll try this. I move to indefinitely postpone this resolution.
Well, any chance we could hear from,
Mr. Mayor, procedurally, first we have to call for a second, then we can have a full discussion on it anyhow. You can still discuss the entire
Artie's
thing.
all over it, so there's been a motion and a second. So for discussion, are there any other aldermen that have questions or comments on this?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm kind of in the wheelhouse with Alderman Schultz. I'm looking here at a draft that the city of Branson did for legislative priorities back in May. And this was emailed out to us, and this is not something that we've brought as a resolution to the Board of Aldermen. So for me, it is also kind of the process. Why are we putting this one list into a resolution? We have an internal city one that's not a resolution. Baja is working on their legislative priorities, and then we collectively are working on additional priorities. So I guess I kind of understand what he's saying. Why are we putting one list to the board and making a resolution about it? It has nothing to do with not taking serious what they're bringing. It's just more of the process. Because I think that there's more to the story and more asks.
Yeah, I think there's more to the story also. What I'm hearing is the opposition is we want to encourage all groups and organizations to bring us lists that'll make our city better. We just don't want to put them in the form of a resolution. Is that what I'm hearing?
From my understanding, not
Yes.
one at a time. As collective as a
Okay,
whole,
but
we
you know
would
how
put them all
ineffective
in.
that would be to wait for every single group to submit a list so we can put them all together into one. And how do we know when they've all been submitted? I think the speed of business says, as we get a list and we study them and we improve certain items, there is absolutely nothing wrong with putting that in a resolution, in my opinion.
Mayor, I'm in support of, no matter who brought it, I'm in support of good ideas, and I see
That's
good
right.
ideas that's gonna better the city, so
Yeah,
I
and
support it.
why, if we get a list of good ideas, again, we're going back to the speed of government by waiting for other lists to come in that we debate and discuss, and again, not knowing if there's another list ready to come in, and say, okay, we've got them all consolidated. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
again, I would like to commend Administrator Stepp and Pam Yancey for doing the unthinkable, for being able to achieve the unthinkable of our chamber and our city working so well together, trying to find ways to make it easier, cleaner for our community, to have future development in the city. Very supportive of all the departments. They are all working together as a team. I think this is an amazing feat that has taken place. I've been here a long time, so I believe Clay Cooper has too, to see what has happened in the past and the amazing steps we've taken moving forward. So I would just really like to commend the chamber and Administrator Stepp.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I agree with Ruth. I commend all of you guys for the work that you're doing. I know that there's more voices out there that have legislative concerns and priorities, and so I just want to make sure that we're protecting all of the voices to give them a chance to bring stuff forward, and we're not just isolating it into one,
Okay.
right?
And what's being presented isn't, this is it, this is a all or nothing. This is one bite of it. We may have restaurants that come in with a list of things, right? We may have, who knows? I mean, different groups that come in with a list, and I say we look at each list independently.
So we'll make a resolution for each list that comes in?
Why wouldn't we? It's not like there's one resolution and nobody else gets to play.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's, for me, when I look at the long list that the aldermen submitted that we haven't even gone through yet, I look at a list like this, I know what's coming from Baja, and there's probably a few other major groups out there. The way I look at this is, we've got a legislative session here that we can set our priorities for and work towards. And we've got limited resources to do that. We've got a limited number of meetings to do that in. And as much as I like this list and the work that got us here, to say that this is the top priority is also not right. And I think we really need to blend this in with all of our priorities and decide what are the primary things we're working on as a Board of Aldermen for this legislative session that we want to get done before this term ends in April. So that's my thinking about why we shouldn't take each of these groups, pass it through a resolution. We should accept the list, discuss the list, and then look at how it fits into our overall scheme of work that we've got to get done as a Board of Aldermen. We have limited legal resources, we have limited staff resources, and we have limited number of meetings to get our work done. To me, it seems like a practical approach.
Any members of the audience wishing to speak to this? It's all right.
Julie Metz, Lake Taneycombe Wakers. It seems to me a simple solution is just put an advertising out there asking these groups for their lists, give them a deadline, and then you know at that date you've got all the lists that are going to be coming in and consolidate them, because I'm sure you're going to find a lot of the same thing on the same lists.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Pam Yancey. I would just like to clarify a couple of things that I've heard. You keep referring to this as a chamber initiative. We are the Branson Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce and CVB and Taney County Partnership. We are all one organization. And when we started having conversations with Kathy and Alex, we started talking about what can we do as, we're 800 members plus strong, and that's businesses that live, work, and try to survive in this community. We have no skin in this game on these legislative priorities. We heard, what can we do to make things better? How can we actually act at the speed of business versus the speed of government? And so we have feedback from builders, developers that are not members of the chamber or the Taney County Partnership that provided. We said, we want you to come and we want you to share what's your sticking points. Why do you go around saying that Branson is impossible to do business with? Don't tell us what happened 20 years ago. Don't tell us what happened 10 years ago. The most recent, because I personally know from sitting in these meetings, there has been great progress made. And you talk to some new folks that are coming in, and I hear the same thing. We do things in other cities, and I've never worked with anybody as wonderful as the city of Branson before. So how do we get past the old paradigms of Branson is impossible to do business with? And those were the conversations. We simply facilitated it. It was not limited to anybody that was just chamber members. Believe it or not, even though you're not a member of our chamber, we still like to listen to the voice of business. We go out and visit with people all the time because we need to have our thumb on the pulse of what's going on. So, again, this was a collaboration between Kathy and Alex, our organization. I got my chair, Cassie Cunningham, involved. We got Cole Courier, who's my incoming chair, involved. We had staff, Matt, Taney County Partnership. We had Grant and Monica from the chamber, but we're all one organization. And so when you say chamber, it's all of us in that building. We all worked on this together. Matt was involved. And so we said, what can we do to help you as builders and developers? What can we share with the city? We don't want just a complaint. What are some viable solutions? Knowing that the solutions that we provided may need to be tweaked or, because we don't know all the things that goes on back here. It's never that assumption, but I just want to make sure that you all understand we done this to facilitate change and to try to help make what goes on with the people that are actually building. We say, every time we're in a meeting, we hear we need workforce housing, we need affordable housing, available housing, all of those things. Well, if we can't get past this stigma of being difficult to work with, we're not going to have people that are wanting to build housing here. And it's going to impact workforce. It's going to impact everything. And so I just wish you would take it out of the context of like we're a special pay to play. That's not where this started. That's never been the intention, nor will it ever be the intention, because whether you're a member of our chamber, CVB and Taney County Partnership or not, our goal and what will make us successful long into the future is by listening to all of the citizens, collecting valuable information, valuable feedback, and sharing it with you all, because I'm not sure that any of them would have had the same conversation with any of you that they had with us. And so we're kind of like Switzerland here. We're just trying to help make things better. And, you know, again, no ill intent. Nobody had to pay to put one of those priorities on that list. It was pure intent of we want to help make things better. And I'm tired of hearing people say that it's hard to do business in Branson. I don't want to hear that. And that is not a reputation that we need to continue to have. And by adopting things like this, these priorities, that shows the city of Branson is listening. We had our honest conversation. We left out what happened 20 years ago. Here's some sticky points right now. Here's some things that could possibly make things go quicker, faster, and easier, not just for the builders and developers, but for your staff as well. And so, to me, I mean, you know, common sense is kind of, my dad said it's a flower that doesn't grow in everybody's garden, and it doesn't. But sometimes you have to bring common sense ideas to the floor and say, let's quit making things quite so complicated. Let's figure out how to make them doable and workable. And so I'm not trying to get any special attention. I'm not trying to get our list ahead of anybody else's. And Alderman Schultz, this is not the end of the list that we will be bringing. We said that from the very beginning. My board of directors voted on that list and allowed me to come and bring this to you. They support it, but it wasn't just my board of directors that had input into this. It was the actual people that are building homes and doing developments in this city and surrounding areas. So I just wanted to clarify that, and I'd answer any questions if anybody has any.
Pam, thank you so much for that. I'm looking at this and listening to this discussion. I'm wondering if the heading of this is a little bit misleading.
It could be.
Because it's really not legislative priorities like Glenn's thinking of, like things we're going to take to the state through our legislators, right? This is a list of things that we can change internally with our own codes.
That's not what Glenn is thinking.
Okay. Well, I think the title, Legislative Priorities, is misleading, Glenn.
So change the title.
I didn't put it up there.
Put whatever you want on there.
I said, Pam, before you go, just so you know, the comments about pay to play came information from us, from business people, that they felt they were excluded from the process. So maybe it's just a communication thing, maybe it's casting a wider net, whatever it is.
So again,
And maybe it's who you're listening
this
to.
isn't one and done. There'll be more conversations. There'll be more people that we talk to. And, you know, we'd love to facilitate that. If they would like to come and talk to us, we would love to help with that. Again, bring what the problems are or where the sticky points are, but come prepared to say, Kathy, if you all could do this, we feel like it would make things smoother. These are very common sense things and realistic expectations that. And just because we didn't talk to every builder or developer in the area, I guarantee you none of them are going to complain if we can get these things to work. So, you know, again, I do take offense to the pay to play because that's not That's not how this started, and nor will it ever be. Because our purpose is we need to be the voice of business in Branson, whether they're a member of our chamber, CVB, Taney County Partnership or not. Because if it's good for one, it's probably going to help somebody else out along the way. So anyway,
Clay, did
thank
have
you.
something?
I just don't know if it'd be appropriate if I could give Pam Yancey a standing ovation after her speech.
Aw, I would, Clay, but I can't.
Thank you.
Artie?
Thank you. This is a resolution. It is not codifying anything.
That's right.
It's not an ordinance.
That's right.
So it's just,
Hey, we hear you.
it's a resolution in support. Okay, it's not codifying anything. It's not an ordinance. And so it really is of no effect other than it's just saying, yeah, we support what you're doing.
It's also, may I, Mayor?
Yes,
Pardon me?
Kathy?
It's really to give us direction, right? Before I assign staff to go off and execute 9 or 10 things, and we go through all the work and the mental gymnastics and the processes to run it through all the different departments, I want to know that you guys are in support of those ideas before I bring them to you in the form of an ordinance where appropriate. And then all of a sudden, there's a big hullabaloo that you're not supportive of those initiatives. So I never want to go marching forward on changing policy until I hear from my policymakers if there's an appetite to do so. And that's all this is that they put some solution-oriented things together on what they think could impact that industry in a positive way. And so I'm bringing it back to you to say, do you want me to move forward and start working on these particular initiatives or not? That's really all this is about.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Glenn?
So this is the issue in my mind, is what was just said. I agree these are things we want to work on. Are these the priorities we should be working on now? That's my problem. We've got a whole list of legislative priorities teed up to take a look at. We haven't even finished that. And to say these jump in front of the list, I'm not convinced that's necessarily right. Pam mentioned, for example, workforce housing. And I agree. I mean, all you have to do is sit in the Taney County Partnership meeting and you've got all the data and conversation about that you need. Is this ahead of workforce housing, for example, as one of many things that are on the alderman's list of potential priorities? So again, I have no problem with the list. I support the list. I support the process. And I thank the chamber for bringing it. But to identify these as priorities, I disagree with at this point.
And I don't know where I've seen priorities. And again, this is not a legislative priority list.
Well, it's legislative priorities because we are the legislation for the
Okay.
city.
For us to do these things, Glenn, at the speed of business, will take Kathy to get with her directors with these great ideas. Or any suggestion of not moving forward with great ideas just astounds me. Alex?
Thank you, Mayor. So here's where I'm at on the topic. I had the pleasure of serving with Ms. Yancey on the Proactive Government Committee at the Chamber, and that's made up of groups that are members, non-members, and it's a wide net, right? When we come together at the Black Tie Gala, it's not a membership-only function, it's a community event. This list is a resolution. It's not an ordinance. We are going through the process. That's ongoing. Staff's agreed to that. This is such a big topic for our community that it warrants its own attention. And I think the resolution, after hearing more discussion on this, we're sending a signal. We're going to send a signal whether we support it or a signal if we don't support it. People are watching that. I understand that. And for me, these items impact workforce housing. They impact, you could take any which one of them and collectively say that it impacts a lot of city business. So it warrants the requisite attention. So for me, what I'm hoping to see, and this is why, back to my original question to Administrator Stepp, when I look through the 9 that remained, there are other areas that are not specific, like increased communication use sound judgment. I look at sound judgment no different than I do common sense. And so I'm still of the mindset that in the spirit of hospitality, customer service, those types of things, that utilizing discretion already built into code is something important, because this is not legislative. This is a high-level mentality, and the city saying, this is the way we would like to go. Staff, if you can get behind these ideas and find a way to make them administrative policy or codify them, then great. So I just genuinely want to know that if that was back in this, if I made an amendment to bring that piece back, does it cause a real concern? Because there's other areas that are vague, but they're important, and they give you discretion because it's a resolution.
Okay, so, go ahead, Kathy.
Sure. I mean, guys, put anything that you want in this. This is really just about me trying to get direction, trying to do it at the speed of business, which we've been called upon to do since I came into this role. Frankly, I thought I would be criticized if I didn't turn this around quickly to you all, because we had the largest business organization in our region that came forward to you all and made this presentation and went through a lot of legwork. I thought I'd be failing as an administrator if I didn't turn this around quickly and show a response that the city has heard you loud and clear, that we are here and ready to partner and advance growth in the city in a responsible way. And to do that side by side and not at odds with each other. I thought I was doing a good thing tonight. If you all don't want to pass this, that's your prerogative. I was just really trying to get a feel of what would you like us to be working on in the coming months and years. So you can add things, take things away. That's certainly your prerogative as elected officials, but I guess I'm dismayed at how much time we have spent on this topic, which I thought was like, man, look how fast we're turning this around. I was feeling good. So thank you, Mayor.
Administrator Stepp, thank you. Again, that's not an attack on you. Back to my original question, that was what was submitted by the group. I don't know that the amended list went back to the group. It might have. I am supportive of your effort in putting this here. That's why I said I understand it's a resolution and that it's so important we need to get behind it. So I'm not attacking you or attacking the staff. I'm supportive of the idea of it being resolution. I may not have been coming in to the meeting. It procedurally did not look right to me either, but I can see the value because, again, we've spent so much time in this meeting alone that it makes people wonder, do they really want to get behind these types of things? So when I say we're sending a signal, I am supporting you. So please know, like, these things are important and they impact our community on so many different levels. I'm just simply asking that, is it going to be a problem to restore one of the two items that they had ratified and submitted to us in the previous meeting? And I heard you say you are supportive of that.
Yep.
So with that, I move to amend the resolution to include the previously stricken item.
We have a motion and a second on the floor, and we're in discussion of that motion.
So, Mayor, just to clarify, it's the motion on the floor right now is to postpone indefinitely.
That's right.
It's okay.
That's what we're discussing.
Correct.
Yeah.
I call for the question, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is, would you read it back, please?
To indefinitely postpone this resolution.
Yeah. So, Glenn, we're about to vote. Go ahead.
Yeah, so,
Hold on, Glenn. Ruth called the question.
and then if you're going to do that, you need a second and a
I second-
two-thirds.
I second it.
Okay, so we called the question and we're going to vote. Hillary, would you take a...
Point of order.
Glenn, we're going to vote. Hillary, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Harkness?
What are we voting
Push your
on?
mic button, please.
Don't have.
Can you please read the question?
So to clarify, we are voting on the motion to indefinitely postpone this item.
That's what we're voting on, is to indefinitely postpone this item.
Yeah, so I feel like it should be a working revolving document.
Okay, we're
and
voting right now.
There's a lot to be added to it. So with that, my vote is yes to postpone it.
Okay?
Oh, sorry. Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
No.
Denham?
Definitely no.
Schultz?
Yes.
Williams?
No.
So the result of the vote is 3 yeses, 3 nos, which is a tie. So Mayor, it will come down to you to break the tie.
In the spirit of speed of business and seeing a list that the majority of people, especially builders, developers, would say, yes, city, please do these things, I'm voting yes. I'm sorry, I'm voting no. I was getting too fast.
The motion to postpone indefinitely fails.
So.
Now the original, yep, sorry, go ahead.
So now we're at the original motion to pass this. Do we have further discussion on this?
So we're starting all over this
Yes.
agenda item?
Yes, we're starting at the beginning. Alex?
Again, not to overstate it, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We're sending a signal, and going on that trip, there's a mentality that's very well and alive right now between the staff, the community, and hopefully the majority of us. This is not going to hurt anything, us getting behind saying these things matter. It's going to send a very clear signal. Highly supportive of it. I'm just simply asking genuinely if there's some space to plug in the item that was labeled number 5 in the previous draft about utilizing discretion built into code, because there's language on these items that stuck behind after staff review that are not so specific that you'll have pure discretion while you're going through the process to decide if it gets codified or not. And it's not accusing staff of not doing these things, like improving communication. Like, these are things that any rational person's gonna get behind. So I'm just wholeheartedly asking you, can we get behind that idea and it's not going to cause a concern?
No concerns, Alderman. Thank you.
And with that, Mr. Mayor, I move to amend the resolution to include a previous item submitted by the Branson Chamber titled in the previous draft, utilize discretion already built into code. It was item number 5 on the previous meeting from July 14th, and the narrative text is increased utilization of the discretion built into code to code that allows common sense exceptions to rules that don't materially improve the outcome.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second, and any discussion on this?
I can just say I noticed it was omitted, and so I agree it should be put back in. Thank you, Alderman Williams.
Okay, anybody in the audience wishing to discuss this? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Harkness?
I'm now voting yes on the resolution.
This is on the amendment that was.
Yes, on
just
the
made.
amendment.
Okay. Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Scholes?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
Okay, so now we're back to the original resolution as amended. Any questions or comments on that? Alex?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Again, I'm going to keep beating this drum because I went on this trip and the city spent good money to send me there, and we spent a lot of time with people. We have a unique opportunity here. This is among many other things we're going to be doing, but I'm going to quote the Sevierville mayor again. I know it's been quoted in several community meetings. This is a definitive step where we say because we can't afford not to. It's a mentality. And these types of things will mean something to somebody, whether they make it into code or not. This resolution's going to mean something to somebody, which will ultimately help our community. So thank you again. This is a long process that went from the former Proactive Government Committee through the chamber, through various committees within the city, and then we're still working. We're still working towards a completely separate legislative process. We've got a representative in the room. It's loud and clear. So thank you for taking the time and getting us here. Chamber partners, Taney County Partnership, and colleagues for, putting the time in, staff. This is a lot of work, and it's going to create more work. And if we don't think of it that way, I understand, and I'm thankful that you guys value it enough to bring it to us for consideration.
Okay. Glenn?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment just to kind of put a more positive spin on everything. I've been saying how many developers have commented to me what improvements they've already seen in the way we process some of these things. The other day I was at a meeting and I had a developer who was at a convention in Las Vegas. In that convention at Las Vegas, they were commenting on the positive changes that Branson has made, which I thought was phenomenal, that it's already reaching out to that extent that the conversations are occurring far outside of Branson. So if this builds on it, if these items build on it, I think we're on a really good path.
Yet you wanted to postpone this indefinitely.
Mr. Mayor, postpone indefinitely the resolution, not the items. I couldn't have said that more times, so I'm sorry you missed that, but I said clearly, I fully support all the items. Don't interrupt. I fully supported all the items.
Really?
Yes, because there's an ordinance that says that, Mr. Mayor. I fully supported all the items.
What ordinance are you quoting here, Glenn?
That the speaker should not be interrupted except for procedural matters. Me to quote the
Why don't you just
specific
finish
ordinance
so we
number?
can vote on this?
Would you just let me finish my thoughts, please? Thank you. I've been very clear that I fully support the list of items from the chamber. I support the process, and I hope we get more from the chamber. I sincerely do. So it's not a question of the list. It's not a question of the activity. It was a question of the resolution. And I did not agree with the idea of a resolution. But given where we are on this, I think I'll probably vote in favor just to move things forward.
Right, any other comments from the board?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Pam, thank you for taking initiative on this. Of course, we all are very grateful for it. We think it's excellent work. We're very much looking forward to the other organizations bringing forward and the private businesses that maybe at this point don't know who to reach out to present their legislative priorities. So hopefully they'll know to reach out to the Chamber, CVB, and the TCP, as you so well said. So I also am very confused on the resolution piece of it, and if that's what you need to be able to move forward with something, then I'm fully in support of that as well, and that could just be my naivety to these processes, but thank you again for your initiative on this, and of course I'm going to vote yes in order to move this forward, as long as we have space and room for everybody else to have a voice and to bring their issues to the table as well.
Any other board members? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak to this? Hearing none, Hillary, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries. Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill Number 6701, an ordinance approving the intergovernmental agreement with Public Water Supply District Number 3 for termination of water services and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
So you've heard the first reading of bill number 6701. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We get a staff report from Kendall. Hello, Kendall.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. The item before you is a second contract renewal agreement for termination of water services for city sewer customers, which are served by Public Water District Number 3. This agreement has allowed us to shut off delinquent sewer customers for non-payment, which has been very effective over the last 2 years. Staff recommends approval.
Great. Any questions from the board on this? Any questions from the audience? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution of support for an affordable housing project known as Donnelly Crossing by Ring Property Company, LLC, located at 302 Scott Boulevard, Branson, Missouri.
Do I have a motion adopting this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Staff report from Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Good evening, Mayor, Board, City Administrator Stepp. Thank you for your time this evening. Mr. Ring with Ring Property Company, LLC, is joining us this evening. And those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting him, Mr. Ring is a successful developer in our community who has a focus on affordable housing, which is something that we greatly need here in Branson. In September of 2025, the board approved a resolution of support for the Donnelly Ridge project. Tonight, Mr. Ring is asking the board to consider a resolution of support for his next project, Donnelly Crossing, which will be located adjacent to the Donnelly Ridge project at the northwest corner of Frank Ray Boulevard and Gargis Way. With that, I'd like to invite Mr. Ring to the podium to provide additional information about the project.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Hello, Mr. Ring.
Good evening.
Welcome back, Mr. Ring.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, and members of the board and city staff. Again, my name is Bob Ring. I'm a developer from the St. Louis area, and as Amanda so well pointed out, I do have a project underway right now in your community. And let me just say, it's good to be here. It's good to be in front of you. It's good to be in this community. And I want you to know that unlike some of the other comments I may have heard this evening, this is a developer-friendly community. It's a developer-friendly government. It's a very professional staff. I've had great experience thus far with your community's execution of its duties. I want you to know that. You should know that.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Donnelly Crossing, if this movie sounds like and looks like you've seen it before, you have. I've done this with you at least once, if not twice, I think, in the last couple of years, because the Housing Commission receives about 110 applications for funding of projects throughout the state of Missouri every year. And they have resources to fund approximately 30 to 35 of those projects. So does that mean the other 70 to 80 projects were bad projects? No, it does not mean that. In fact, most of them are quite good projects. There just aren't enough resources to go around. And so I don't take it personally that a project doesn't get funded one year and doesn't get funded the next year. It just takes persistence to come back. And for that reason, I love coming here to see you and chatting with you and hearing what's going on in your community. It's a great place in which to do business, and you should know that.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Donnelly Crossing, what's it going to be? Well, where is it? It's located at the intersection of Garges Way and Frank Ray Boulevard, about, I think, as the crow flies, probably 4 or 5 miles southwest of here, on about a 6.5-acre tract of ground. As Amanda pointed out, it is located right across the road from the other project that is currently under construction, and which, by the way, is about 55% complete. We should be finishing that up in probably January, with move-ins hopefully in February of 2027. So we're getting close. I'll go visit the project tomorrow morning. Again, I've been there a couple of times during construction. We blasted the heck out of some rock over there, and it took a while to get out of the ground. But we're up and running, and we're going vertical, and we're having a good time over there. What will the site look like? The site is rolling and hilly and rocky, as you might imagine. I don't think there's any flat ground anywhere near Branson, so we couldn't find a site that was flat. This building will be a single building. If approved, it will be built for rent to seniors over the age of 55 only, whose incomes meet certain income limitations. It'll be a split elevation building, 2 floors on one side, 3 floors on the back side, in order to accommodate a little bit more easily into the rolling topography. The parking lot will feature 55 spaces, so there's plenty of room for parking. On the north side of the property, we will keep what we will refer to as a tree preservation area, so the residents will have some privacy as they look to the north. However, that parcel of ground adjacent to us may eventually be developed. What's the building going to look like? On the front side, on the 3-story elevation side, it'll be 35% masonry, 65% cementous siding. Generically speaking, you might call that hardy board siding. But it's not the paper thin stuff we used to build 30, 40 years ago. This building has to stay as an affordable housing project. It'll be deed restricted for 30 years. So it has to remain that way. It cannot be flipped into a market rate project until 30 years from now, when we're all doing something else more fun than we're doing now. So it's going to be 825 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartments, up to 42 units in the entire project. We haven't quite figured out exactly how many. It's between 40 and 42 right now, but it'll be in that neighborhood, either 40 or 42. What will the building have? The building will feature, of course, a resident manager's office. It'll have a a community room in which the residents can have potluck lunches and have their families over or have social gatherings with their friends. There will be a fitness room, and there will be a computer center within the building as well. So it'll be everything. It'll have everything that a senior needs who is ambulatory. There are no special services in this building. You have to be able to walk in and walk out. And if you're only 55 years old, you still better be doing that. And everybody does. So with that said, I will be submitting an application to the Housing Commission 9 days from now. They sped up the deadline this year. They made it August 7th. Usually it's earlier, even middle of September. So I'm here a little bit about a month earlier than I usually am. But I'm here because I need you. And you've been very, very good to me in the past. Even you passed another ordinance that I didn't even ask for in 2026, which is a duplication of the 2025 ordinance dealing with the waiver of certain fees. Well, I deeply, deeply appreciate that. And I didn't even have to ask you for it. In fact, I wasn't even aware that it was out there until a couple of days ago. So that was a great, great piece of good news that I had. And I need your support by way of a resolution. And I've gotten it every year, and I appreciate that. You don't get something you don't ask for, so I'm asking very humbly, I need your help. And it goes a long, long way with the Housing Commission toward their consideration of the application. If an applicant does not have the support of the community in which he's doing business or she's doing business, their application is DOA. And so I've now got two things. Not only will I get, I hope, your resolution of support, but I've got you've got skin in the game in that ordinance that allows for waivers of certain fees. And that was intended by the Housing Commission to differentiate perhaps my application from somebody else's who couldn't get that from their community. And it's just one more thing that sets us apart in the scaling and the grading process. So for that, I'm deeply grateful. For what I've asked you for, I'll also be deeply grateful. And I hope you can come around and see our Donnelly Ridge project as it opens up in the middle of winter, and people are moving in January and February. And I hope we get an affirmative response from the Housing Commission this go around. They would consider these applications and probably come to a conclusion sometime in December. So with that, I will surrender my post, but answer any questions that anybody may have.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Ruth?
First of all, thank you. It is always a pleasure. Thank you for wanting to do business in Branson, and thank you for bringing amazing projects and that are. Can you do a video so we can show it in the planning department of a great submittal for development in our city?
Only if you'll produce it.
I'm on it.
Okay.
Actually, do you remember when your first project was submitted, what year it was?
I believe it was 2021.
And you've had great service since then.
Oh, I couldn't ask for better service. I really couldn't. And I'm not just saying that. I'm very, very serious.
So you haven't just seen a change from April till now, from 2021. I'm very pleased. We have the most amazing planning department.
You do.
In any city around. And I thank you for your compliments earlier because they're very well received. Thank you very much for your submittal. I am in complete support of your submittal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ring, I just want to say, I had the pleasure of seeing you come in front of the board for several years now, and you're just always so kind and professional, and your presentations are fantastic, and definitely on a night when resolutions are not easy to come by, as you saw, I'll definitely be supporting you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Glenn?
Yeah, I also want to thank you for your great presentation and for your continued work here in Branson. You know, if you like the resolution that granted reduction in building permit fees, my question for you is on another one we might be able to do down the road, and that's the density issue in Branson. when you look at projects like this, if we would allow higher density building projects, would that be beneficial to you as a developer of these kind of programs or not?
Yes and no. Usually density does not play as important a role in affordable housing projects as it does in market rate projects, because affordable housing projects, the number of units I can afford to build is really, really restricted because of the way the capital structure works. And as a result, I can build 42 units on 2.5 acres, and it works. And the site works. The site works. It looks great. Then your density is closer to 18 to 20. And that's a more normal density, I think, in my experience in many communities, is somewhere between 15 and 20. I'm not looking to maximize density, so to speak. In fact, with senior projects, I like to have a larger site, because then we can put in the tree preservation area, we can put in walking paths, we can put in, with my family project, Donnelly Ridge, we can put in a playground, those kinds of things. So I like to have a little more green space. That goes a long way, I think, not only with the communities, but with the Housing Commission as well. If I ever build a market rate project in Branson, I'm going to ask you for a lot of density.
Ruth? One more question. If you can please let us know when the virtual call is for your project.
I will.
I'd be very interested
Yes,
in
the
being a
public
part of
hearing,
that.
yes,
Thank you.
I will let you know.
Any other aldermen?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you so much for what you're doing, what you have done for the community, and what you're continuing to bring. Is it too early to ask you if you would have an estimate of what rent would actually be?
It's not quite too early. I have an estimate. If you don't hold me to it, to answer your question, I have to tell you that there are going to be two kinds of affordable rental structures. One will be for people whose incomes are 30% or less than the area median, and the other will be for people whose incomes are 60% or less of the area median. And there will be only about four apartments that will be restricted to people whose incomes are 30%ers. And those would be, last year's application, they were $427 a month. And probably this year they won't be too much terribly different than that. The 60% units would be $900. You're welcome.
That's very good and very needed for our community and our seniors and our 55 and up, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Alex?
Thank you, Mayor. Sir, thank you again for your persistence and professionalism, because again, although MHDC can only give out so many every year, you make a choice to continue applying for those, and you could do them in lots of places, but you're continuing to do them here in Branson. So thank you for making Branson a priority within your business, because despite the odds and percentages and things, you still make that choice. And so thank you for making that choice and making us one of your priorities.
You're welcome. And I've come back here because I like it here. It's very welcoming.
Any questions, comments from the audience?
For the record, State Representative Brian Seitz, I just want to let the board know that I directed my staff at the Capitol to fill out a letter of support on July 22nd for the senior housing development. And I think it's my third such letter of support this year, something we definitely need in this area. So I appreciate Donnelly Crossing, and we are in 100% in support at the state.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Very nice.
Representative Seitz.
Thank you, Representative Seitz. Any other questions, comments from the audience? Hearing none. We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Ring.
so much.
We're at the report section of the meeting. We'll start off with Alderman Harkness.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I got to go to everything's a first for me right now, and I got to go to the board recognition luncheon, which I thought was pretty cool. The city does that. Thank you to all of you staff that put that on. And I just want to reiterate, thank you to our board members, thank you to our committee members, and everybody that's volunteering their time to help basically run our city and all these other areas. So I'm just echoing the city's appreciation and thanking everybody that's a part of that. Ward 3, 165, sidewalks, road safety, things like that are very important to me, and I'll continue to push that. We had a board member from Legacy Academy over on 165 request some school zone signs. They now own the building, and they no longer share it with the church. So I have sent this to staff, but I'm looking forward to figuring out how we can work with, if it needs to be MoDOT or what, that we can get some school zone signs around Legacy just for additional safety as you pull in and out of there. I've gotten to do a whole lot of one-on-one meetings, so with staff, with different departments in our community. I'm going to run through the list really quick, but they have all been so incredibly informative for me. I'm still pushing parks, trails, anything we can do for quality of life, splash pads, anything we can do to help our parks department and our residents who live here. So some of the meetings I've had is Christina over at the Chamber, because she is the guru when it comes to sports tourism and how if we turf the soccer field, that would create an ROI for that. I did the Parks Board meeting. I met with Megan Connell over at Skaggs Foundation, also inquiring to see if there's an opportunity there to get some help with turfing our soccer field. I've gotten to meet with Matt Adkins and over at TCP, right? And he's incredible. And so he's going to help me with ROI when it comes to trails and the workforce, that having outdoor spaces and things like that can help us recruit solid workforce and things like that. So getting people outside. And I think what they do over there at TCP is amazing. Met with a stakeholder again about trail connectivity, because we have one really big loop. And there's one piece of property that if we can connect it, I really feel like it will start the momentum for us to start making asks for easements from different property owners and to continue that loop and the trail and how to get bikes all around town and different things like that. Got to sit in on the Chamber Board meeting, so thank you to Alderman Cooper for letting me kind of join in there. Did the Chamber Legislative meeting, which was awesome. Went to the Taney County Republicans meeting. I got to hear all the candidates and Donna and the prosecutors, so I thought that was very informative, and honestly, it was such a relief that it was not me this time. So it was kind of nice to sit back and watch everybody else. Did an interview with the Half Company. They're the ones that are doing the CIP, the Community Improvement Plan, so that was awesome to be able to speak to them and kind of hear what the plan is, what the direction is that we're doing, and the work that Mark's doing over there is pretty awesome. I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you for letting me serve.
Alderman Lucas?
I too got to attend the board appreciation luncheon, and I sincerely thank all of you that were involved with putting that on. And I even got to hear some really neat stuff about Hillary from her dad. So if any of you want any information, inside information on Hillary, let me know. Also, I was really excited to get the email from Michael Woods regarding the lights for Branson Hills Parkway. That should be here this next month, and everybody's looking forward to that. It'll be a great improvement on the parkway. And I had a mistake in my calendar, not by anybody else. I got mixed up on the luncheon date, and I thought it was last Friday. And so I went to the conference center, and I walked in, and nobody knew anything about a luncheon. But there were two girls that worked there at the conference center that I did get the opportunity to have an extended conversation with, and it was really exciting to hear two young ladies that were so politically involved that were interested in what was going on and wanted to see our community be the best it could be as well. And it's always neat to get to interact with young people and get their perspective on life. And so that's all I got, Mayor.
Alderman Cooper?
I don't have much, just, I've said it many times, but the two city employees that work in the CID on the strip in front of my face, just, it just never ceases to amaze me how good they do. And I know they've been awarded some awards over the past, but man, they keep our place looking trimmed and cut and watered and flat, and they're just always on it. There's not a time I drive down that strip between business hours that they're just not on their hands and knees digging up weeds and getting after it. So kudos to them. And I'll yield the rest of my time for the closed executive session coming up.
Yeah, boy, thank you, Clay. Ruth?
I would just like to say thank you also for the luncheon that was provided for us. I feel that I should be cooking and making a luncheon for you guys, but I don't think you'd come because I'm not a really good cook, so a thank you's just gonna have to do. I met with the half people regarding our comprehensive plan, and I'm just kind of blended in with what was discussed tonight regarding the Chamber, CVB, TCP, and our amazing Kathy Stepp. Branson is a beautiful place to live, work, and play. I think we can all agree on that. We're known for live entertainment and our Ozark atmosphere. I think we need to really focus on our tree preservation so we can actually be Ozark and not a sea of concrete out there. I appreciate Mr. Ring's ideas of keeping more green space in his development, and I think that that's what people kind of expect when they come to the Ozarks. Flood mitigation was something that I spoke of then, and it was on the list, so I'm excited about that too. Moving forward with policy, it used to be a huge privilege to be able to develop in the city of Branson, and I think we need to get back to that place. Yes, we do need to relook at building codes, relook at zoning ordinances, but as we do that, I just hope that we remain focused on requirements that protect our communities as well. We have to find that middle ground to where we are actually protecting Branson. And using common sense, extremely important. And I just love this place, and I want to keep it the Ozarks because that's what we're known for. And I thank you so much for being here tonight. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Glenn?
So last time I reported that we've got a group in downtown that's formed the Visual Arts Committee. And they're now advancing the discussion so that they're talking with BRAC, which is the Branson Regional Art Council, to, it's exploratory, but to see if the efforts can kind of be coalesced. And I take that as a very positive step. I think we'll see some very direct action from that in the next month. It's really a great group, highly energized group. And if they can pull together the first phase with just the walking art tour for all the existing murals, it'll be nice in itself, but they've got great plans on expanding things. And related to that, the Downtown Fall Festival is scheduled for September 25th and 26th. That's a Friday and Saturday. And that walking art tour is planning the soft launch of the first tour at the Fall Festival. So watch for that, September 25th, 26th downtown. I was in a meeting also with Angie from the Convention Center, and she pointed out that they've made some changes again on parking. So in order to align with the parking ordinances for downtown, they now are offering 2 free hours of parking on the convention, and then you pay after that, and they've got a schedule for that. But I thought the 2 free hours was a real nice match to our downtown parking scheme, and hopefully it'll take a little pressure off some of the street parking too and make things a little bit more convenient for our visitors. Alderman Lucas and I had a very nice discussion with the new marketing manager for the Branson Landing, Becky Blair. She's actually here tonight, discussing an entertainment district. And very confusingly, the state legislature, that guy over there, has created two things that are called entertainment districts. And so this entertainment district basically provides carried beverages purchased from businesses within a common area under established local rules. So I bring it up because it's likely we'll hear a presentation from the landing in the near future. I understand that the board in 2018 already passed a resolution in favor of this way back then, but it never apparently went anywhere. So we may have another opportunity to look at this whole thing. And there's been some improvements to the state law since 2018 as well. I also got the note from the chamber that the trailer for that movie that was being filmed in Branson and at Silver Dollar City will be released. Well, the film will be released this January, but the trailer is available now. We're going to get a preview of the film on November 6th, but if you want to see the trailer for it, you can go to tinyurl.com/OzarkMovie, tinyurl.com/OzarkMovie, and you can see the trailer for this thing. It's a real nice film. You'll recognize a lot of things from the area already in the trailer, so it's a lot of fun to watch. I'd encourage you to do that. That's my report.
Thank you. Alex?
Thank you, Mayor. So my first thing I'll talk about is I had a pretty successful Rally Point event. It's the nickname for my town halls that I do once a month. And this was probably the largest attended one up to this point. Still a small sentimental group, but the most well attended. And I do them inside of the ward. So I'll find a business within Ward 1. We'll have a meal, we'll talk about city business. And this last one, we talked about a lot of different topics. Highway 76 came up, marketing funds for the tourism tax and where those go, the solicitation conversation in the city, like all really great topics. It was very, very well received. It was actually in that meeting, I believe, that the legacy had come up, and I was able to lateral that over to the appropriate representative for that. But just really, really good things happening. So I made that promise. I'm going to continue to do it because I'm here twice a month for sure, but I need to be accessible outside of the walls of City Hall, and that's part of the reason why I do that. So legislative priorities, that's moving along nicely. We're excited to not only do state level priorities, but we're going to have upcoming discussions on the local level priorities, things that this board has direct control over. We obviously are going to lean heavily on Representative Seitz, and he's going to get it done because he's Superman, but beyond that, we're going to adopt things that we can hold ourselves accountable to, whether we do them or don't do them after we adopt them. That we'll have those discussions when those times come. So the Comprehensive Planning Committee, I have the pleasure of serving on that. This board previously, or in previous legislative sessions, set the process in motion to replace Community Plan 2030. This board has to make it a priority to make sure that's a no-fail mission, that 2030 plan goes away, and that what comes in its place is what Branson is supposed to look like. I think more than most people would say that 2030 plan does not fit what Branson wants to be when it grows up. So with that, we have an obligation to give our novel best and make sure that that plan fits Branson. And we won't visit that plan again for some time, and I'll hope that once the plan is passed, that we'll exercise good judgment and do regular updates on it. I know that we do, and there's staff reports that tie it back to certain aspects, but I look to my friends at the school district who do a wonderful job every month reporting in depth on how those strategic decisions go into the community plan, or in our case, the strategic plan. So I'm very excited to do that. It's one of the reasons I'm most excited about all the things that are going on right now is it's a non-frequented process where we can move the needle. The board committee lunch was a lot of fun. I'm thankful for the staff for putting that on. I'm thankful for my colleagues. I'm very thankful for the committee members, the citizens that take time away from their jobs and find time to meet during business hours and care for this city, and that the city and our government places value on citizen participation. That's not a requirement. We codify that we allow space for our citizens to come in and govern alongside their representatives. So I don't think we should take that for granted because committees come and go. I'm just grateful that we've got citizens that want to participate. And I'll end with something that I've been floating in official correspondence and in social media updates. I call it one team, one Branson. There's a lot of things that go back and forth. Individuals have opinions. I respect every single one of you. I may not agree with you on everything, but I respect you. I think there's a difference. We get caught up in the idea that someone's inherently a bad person, or, hey, they did this, so they're a bad person. We've got to be able to separate the individual from the policy. You are all good people. We have more in common than we don't. And so doesn't mean that we don't hold each other accountable for our actions, for what we say or do. I think there's a mentality thing there. And so with that, I don't know if there's an appetite for this, but in previous experiences I've had representing Branson on the TCD and the Branson Public Schools Board of Education, those boards found it to be a priority that they do professional development and have board retreats. They meet, they talk about high-level governance, and they talk about some of these sticky widgets that we're duking it out over here. That won't replace that. I understand that. That's a boyish ambition. But I would like to know if there's any space for us to look at, as a team, looking at professional development so we're better prepared for our other teammates out there and in the community. So it's a bunch of words, but simply put, I'm very interested if there's a possibility for our board to do professional development and a retreat on, high altitude discussions. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Kathy? In light of our next meeting, for time, I'll make mine short. I want the community to know that this is the last meeting that our city attorney, Solon, will be attending. His last day at the city is a week from today on August 4th, and he will be greatly missed. Other than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh, wait a minute. Do I have a motion to go into closed executive session?
Your Honor, I move to go into closed executive session pursuant to 610.021.1 RSMO for legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communication between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys, 610.021.2 RSMO for real estate and 610.021.12 RSMO for negotiated contract.
Do I have a second? Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote, please?
Harkness?
Yes.
Lucas? Cooper?
Yes.
Denham? Scholes?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
The result of the vote is 6-0, motion carries.
The board will now move into closed executive session and will return to the council chambers once executive session is over to adjourn the Board of Aldermen regular meeting.